Um, if there are no other people that would like to get into the introduction, I think we would like to jump into what Power BI is about, and then we'll move on from there. Okay. Um, as the name as the name probably sounds, Power BI is a business analytics tool that helps us to deliver insights to whichever organization it is that we're working with. And let me just sorry, is my screen on, please? Is there anybody that cannot see my screen, please? Let me know. Oh, okay, fantastic. So, as I was saying earlier, Power BI is a business analytics tool that helps us deliver insights to our organizations. It is capable of connecting to a wide variety of data sources. It also helps us to simplify how we prepare our data in a more easy to understand, everybody's invited kind of manner. So regardless of how, be you a beginner, an intermediate, or an advanced level analyst, Power BI is a tool you can very much work with, and it helps to just do things easy. Now, another thing is Power BI also helps us to produce reports, which you can then go on to publish to organization across a wide variety of across a major variety really. So Power BI is available on three different platforms. There is the Power BI desktop, which is a sort of offline version. It's a sort of desktop offline version for you to use. You would not need to connect to the internet to utilize it. If you're seeing my screen, then what you're looking at right now is what the Power BI desktop looks like. Tonight we are going to be talking about the installation and downloading installation of the Power BI. So let's get into that proper. Um, there are two major ways to download and utilize Power BI. You could either go through the open a browser and search for. Okay, so you can either open a browser, just go ahead to search for download Power BI desktop, which in turn loads up the page. We click on, we go ahead to click on the Microsoft Power BI link, which takes us to their website. And basically, this is the download button for the Power BI desktop. You can click on download and it basically just loads. Or you could go ahead and open up your Microsoft Store and basically just search for Power BI desktop. Bear in mind, there are two Power BIs on the Microsoft desktop. There's the Power BI desktop on the Microsoft Store. There's the Power BI desktop and the Power BI report builder. We would be using the Power BI desktop for this class. So you click on the Power BI desktop, it loads up, and you go ahead to download. Now, there is a benefit. There's an added benefit to downloading your Power BI from the store rather than downloading it from your browser. The benefit being that you would basically be getting, so Power BI updates their software every month. On the first day of a new month, the Power BI gets a new update. So if you download it from the store and you're connected to the internet, obviously, your Power BI would automatically do a background update by itself. But if you should download from your browser, you would literally have to go into the browser to download a new version every month, just so you can keep up with the latest tidbits and fixes that have been added to the Power BI. So after downloading it from the store, you can go ahead and say open, and basically just loads up, a fresh Power BI for you to work with. Fantastic. So this is the main page, or should I say, basically the welcome page to the Power BI. Here you would notice we have a variety of information just being thrown directly to us. First, of course, being, so we'll be working from it from top downwards. On this aspect, on the home tab, we have the get data button here at the data side. We have the get data button. Clicking on it would give us a full view of the different sources that Power BI can connect to. Everything from an Excel workbook to a text file, XML, JSON, SharePoint folder. Bear in mind that an Excel workbook, the text folder, the text and CSV, XML, JSON, these are all offline copies. As you see here under the file, they are all offline copies, which means you can directly connect to them from your laptop. It could be offline sources that be downloaded on your laptop, or you could be working with database from SQL Server's database, or the Access, Oracle, IBM. Basically, a wide variety of databases can be connected to, which you would have access to linking up the company's or the organization's information directly from there. You could, of course, connect to Microsoft Fabric. Bear in mind that Microsoft Fabric is a revamped or a renaming for Microsoft Power Platform, which is composed of so basically this is a revamp, and they just did it to. Now we also have the Power Platform, of course. You can choose to connect to the Power. If you notice, you would see we have Dataverse, data flows here, which is the exact same thing we have on this end also. Into the Azure database. Everything that has to do with Azure can be connected to from here. We also have online sources like the SharePoint, Azure DevOps, Google Analytics, Adobe Analytics. You can connect to your GitHub. You can connect to your LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Basically, we have a host of different things that can be connected to, and it just goes to show the versatility that Microsoft offers. Then there are other bases, other desktop bases. You can connect to the web if you are putting information directly from a URL link. You can go ahead, connect to a web service. You can connect to a Python script, to an R script. Basically, everything that you are able to store information on can be connected to from the Power BI, or most things. Basically, most things that you can store information on. Most databases can be connected to with the Power BI, and you can put information directly from there. Now, besides the get data, we have here a couple of to make it easier for everybody. Yes, please.
Sorry, I asked a question. It seems you were not focused on the system for your phone. Is it
What's the
possible
question?
to get is it possible to get access to the video later because I am having flashbacks in my life. I'm having about 2% on my phone right now.
Is it possible to get a class later? Yes.
Like no,
The class is currently being recorded by Tech for All, and it will be
no,
made available.
all right, no problem. Thank you so much.
So, um, that is so it seems something is up on my screen. Okay. So now, what we are looking at currently is just a brief overview. We have discussed the different data sources that you can connect to via Power BI. The next thing we'll be talking about is the parts of Power BI. So Power BI is composed of three different parts. We have the Power BI desktop, which is the more or less offline copy. Then we have the Power BI service, which is an online copy of it. It basically gives you the exact same functionality as the Power BI, but then it scales it up a bit by making things a bit more easier for you to connect directly, since you will be connecting directly to your company's, you'll be logging in directly with your company's information. And so all your informations are easier to reach. Then third, we have the Power BI mobile. The Power BI mobile is the mobile version for the Power BI. Bear in mind though, that while you can create dashboards and reports from both the Power BI desktop and the Power BI service, you cannot create dashboards and reports from your Power BI mobile. The only thing that is available to you from the Power BI mobile is viewing. You basically are just able to view the report you created and commenting, of course. You can also comment on such reports if there needs to be updates done to it. Now, the third thing we'll be talking about tonight is the building blocks for Power BI. When we're talking about the building blocks for Power BI, information pulled in from a data source is called a data set, and such information can be pulled in directly, like you said earlier, from either an Excel book, a text CSV file, your web. So right now, I would be showing you how to pull in information from a text file. So say, for example, you click on Get Data. I'm sorry, can you can see my screen? Yes. Okay, fantastic. So we are pulling information from a text or CSV file. You click on Get Data, then you scroll down to text or CSV, or you can click on this and click on text or CSV. You click on Connect. It loads up your laptop's library, where you can then go on to search for whatever it is that you'd like to utilize. So for this one, we will be using this CSV file called Pizza Sales. We click Open. And it basically loads up a preliminary view of what the table looks like, of what the old table it looks like. And they would say it says here that this data, the data in the preview has been truncated due to size limits. So what we are getting is the first 20 rows. Now, one of two things is available to you. You can either choose to load the table directly into your Power BI, or you can choose to go for transform data first. Now, the only option that would make you load information directly into Power BI without transforming your data is if you are the one that personally worked on such data. In which case, you are able to verify that the data you're working with is a clean data. We have two types of data. We have a clean data and what we call a dirty data. Dirty data are data that might contain, you do not know if they contain it, but they might contain errors. Any form of errors, basically. A data that contains any form of error is a dirty data. Well, a data that has gone through a transformation process or that has been verified to be clean of all errors is a clean data. So now, if you're working with what you assume is a dirty data, the best thing for you would be to click on transform data first, which will in turn load up your Power Query. You can then go on to clean your data through Power Query. But if you're working with a clean data, then you can go ahead and click on the load button. So you click on the load button and it pulls up the connection is currently the data set is currently being loaded into Power BI. Now, after data sets, the next building block for Power BI is visualization, which is the old concept of Power BI. Power BI is a data visualization tool, a way for you to tell your story with graphs and charts and maps and the likes. The saying Power BI basically embodies give you charts. Let Power BI give you charts and infos based on such data. Sorry, I seem to have dropped off a bit there. Share. Okay, so if you look at, so as I was saying earlier, you can all hear me, yes? Okay, fantastic. So now, after we've dealt with the visualization aspects of Power BI, we have put in our graph, our pie charts, our bar charts, and what and the likes to give us the story we are trying to tell. Is one of the loaded queries contains errors, it says, which means we are working with a data. So when we go ahead and click on view errors, it basically loads up Power Query for us. As Power Query is our transformation tool. Okay. So you see right here, it says error in pizza sales. Oh, this is, yeah, there it was. You can then go ahead to check where your error is coming from. Okay, so this information is working with apply. So, like we said earlier, this, if you look at the right hand side here, we have the visualization pane. These are the different visualizations that are available for us to use. We have the stacked bar charts, stacked column charts. We have a clustered bar chart, a clustered column chart. We have pie charts, a scattered charts. We have maps also. Then we go on to have tables, of course. You can pull in a Python script from here. Basically, we have a whole lot of this visualization into your Power BI. This is when you pull in just one visual, this is called a tile. When it's just one visualization that has been pulled in, it is called a tile. Yes. Now, after a tile, the next thing we have is sorry, who is seeing my screen? Okay, beautiful. So as I was saying earlier, when you put in just one info or when you put in just one visual into your Power BI, it is called a tile. Now, the next thing after the tile is what we call the report. A report is made up of several tiles. Oh no, sorry. The next thing after the tiles is the dashboard. Sorry. So a dashboard is made up of several tiles. A dashboard is a collection of multiple tiles that has been pulled in to tell a whole host of stories. Then a dashboard that has been shared to your Power BI service is called a report. Is there any question so far? Does anybody have any questions so far? Antonia, please. Antonia, you raised up your hand. Do you have a question? Antonia, are you with us? Your hand is raised. Do you have a question? Okay, I'm not sure why a hand is raised. So I'm not sure why her hand is raised, but
Sorry, I guess it was when you asked the question about who is seeing the screen. So
oh,
that
okay,
was why she.
okay,
Yeah. So let's
okay.
move on, please.
So a single report that has been pulled in is called sorry, a single tile, a single visual that has been pulled in is called a tile. Yes, Antonia, please, your hand is raised again. Joy also, please, Antonia first. Antonia, do you have a question, please? Okay, Joy, please, your question.
Okay, so can
Yes,
you
I'm
hear
with you.
me, sir? Okay, actually, I don't know, but for me, I'm new to Power
Okay,
BI, and yeah, so you talked about installing it first. I think that was the point I went off. I wasn't following again because first you said we shouldn't install the one from the web, and then the one I saw you installing was the one from the web because I'm actually working with a PC here.
okay,
Because my screen is kind of very blur, so I can't really see all of the things you are saying. So I'm trying to find my way in all of this, but I was
okay.
hoping that I'll be able to download it so I'll follow through.
Yes. So we said there are two options to installing the Power BI on your laptop. You either go to the web or you could go to your the Microsoft Store. Yes, you got all that. Yes. Now we discussed going if you're going to the web aspect, you just have to search for download Power BI desktop, and it loads up the web link for you to go ahead and download. Or if you're using the Microsoft Store, all you have to do is search for it on Microsoft Store. Now it is better. So now we said it is better for you to use the store rather than the web version, since the store gives you a monthly update every time. It basically does the background updates every time you're connected to the internet. So Joy, you could load up your store right now and search for Power BI desktop and just click on install. Is there any other thing you need clearance on? Or is there any other thing you need clarification on?
Not at all. Thank you.
Sorry?
Not at all. Thank you.
Okay. So now we said I think Titilayo, sorry. Your hand is raised.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Please, I want to ask, can we download the desktop using our phone?
No, you cannot. The desktop is only available for your desktop.
Okay, okay. All right.
Unless of course you want to download it on your phone, then maybe send it to your laptop later. You could do that, but really. But
Okay,
no, the desktop version is only available for the desktop.
okay.
And no, it is also not available for your tablet. You will be downloading the Power BI, the mobile version. If you are using the tablet, you will still be getting the mobile version of it for the iPad and Android tab users.
Sorry, sir. Sorry.
Yes, please.
It says Microsoft Power BI desktop.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Any other questions, please? Anybody else? Okay. So now we said a single visual that has been placed in the Power BI is called a tile. A host of visuals that has been placed in Power BI, a host of tiles that has been placed in Power BI is called a dashboard. And a dashboard that has been shared to your Power BI service is called a report. These are the fundamental building blocks for the Power BI. We have data sets, visualization, tile, dashboard, and reports. Then we'll move on into the different functions that are available for Power BI, or the different functions that you can utilize with Power BI. Our functions are broken down into seven. We have seven different functions, seven broad headings of functions. Therefore, yes, please. Okay. Okay. Is it showing now? Okay. Thank you. So the functions in Power BI are broken down into seven main headings. First, we have aggregation functions. Aggregation functions are functions that are used to calculate a specific, or for calculations basically. Under aggregation functions, we have things like mean, max, average, sum. Next, we have text functions. Text functions in Power BI are functions that you utilize with text, such as concatenate, search, replace, upper, lower, fixed, search. For anybody that is used to working with Excel, you would realize that these are the same functions we use on Excel also. Next, we have logical functions. Logical functions include and, or, not, if. Next, we have the counting functions. So with regards to the counting functions, we have count, count blank, count rows, distinct count. Another function we can work with is the table function, which include filter, all, distinct, values, related table. These are different functions under the table functions. Then again, we have date functions. Under the date functions, we have date, hour, month, year, weekday, and now, basically. So I think that's six. I think that's six of the seven. The seventh one being the information function. The information functions are functions that we use to search for particular information, or that we use to filter through a particular set of information. Things like is blank, is number, is text, is not text, is error. These are the functions that we use to parse the information we are working with for a particular condition. So are under all these functions are under Martin, please. Martin, you raise your hand.
Yes, well done, bro. Am I the only one? I can't view your if you are trying to
Of that is on the
present.
screen. I am basically just
Okay,
explaining.
you just
Yes,
explain.
please.
All right,
I'm just
okay,
explaining.
I
It's the
get
Power
that.
BI desktop that is on the screen.
All right, thank you.
So as I was saying, different functions, the functions being utilized in Power BI is the same functions that are being utilized in Excel. And these functions are called data analytical expressions. Data analytical expressions, the short of which we call DAX, which is a topic we would get into much later. But there are things that work. I don't know if there's anybody here that is used to UI UX or the difference between UI UX and web development. In the sense that where web developers have to basically write the 5,000 lines of code, UI UX officials can just pull in a square, a rectangle, a picture, and in the background, the codes have been written for them, right? The same thing is going on here with the Power BI. Whenever you put in the charts, you put in the information, and you click on count or whatever, Power BI basically just writes the code in the background to run the answer you're trying to get. Instead of you going into Excel and saying equals to so, Power BI basically just gives it to you more or less directly. So, if there is there anybody that has questions on the downloading and installing of Power BI? I think that was the first thing we touched on. Any questions with regards to that? Okay, no questions. What about Abayomi? Yes, please.
Sorry, I don't know if you can hear me, sir.
Yes, we can.
All right. Please, is there a particular PC that can actually download this particular software, or is
Yes,
it
I. This is actually a very beautiful question and something I should have told you. Power BI is not available to MacBook users. Are you with me? The Power BI desktop is not available to MacBook users unless you are one of those people that clone. I think there's a way for you to clone the Microsoft desktop on your MacBook. Wow, that's a very long process. But the Power BI is not available to MacBook users. It is only available to Windows users.
okay, sir? Thank you, sir.
Okay. So, any other question, please, with regards to downloading and installing? None other. Okay. Um, any question with regards to yes, Ibitola? Yes, please. We're with you. Ademola, you raised your hand.
Yeah. I sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
I want to ask, is this the only, because I use a MacBook, so I want to ask if this is the only app that I can use to work on, like
With
the
Power
data
BI,
analysis,
unless you would like to utilize Power BI service
like through the Safari or through the like the browser.
through the Safari or the
Like,
Chrome, you could utilize Power
okay,
BI service instead of the Power BI
okay,
desktop.
okay. That's good. Fine. Thank you.
All right. So, any other question, please? Anybody else? Okay. If there are no questions with regards to the downloading and installing, does anybody have any questions with regards to the different data sources we can connect to with Power BI? Okay, no questions for that also. What about with regards to the building blocks of Power BI? Wow. Okay. And what about with regards to functions in Power BI? Yes, Joy, please.
Okay, you can please like summarize the functions in Power BI because at that point I wasn't following, but I was trying to install
Okay.
the app.
So with regards to the functions in Power BI, I said they are under 7 broad headings. Functions in Power BI are under 7 broad headings. We have the aggregation functions, which are used for calculations. So things like sum, average, mean, max are under the aggregation function. Next, we have the count functions. So things like count, count distance, count blank, count rows are under the count functions. Next, we have logical functions. Functions like and, or, not, if, and if error are under the logical functions. Next, there's the information function where we have the is blank, is number, is text, is non-text, and is error. Again, we have the text functions. This is where things like concatenate, upper, lower, fixed, search, replace, these are where they come in. Then we have date functions where we have things like date, hour, month, year, quarter, weekday, and the likes. And last but not least, we have the table functions where we have things like filter, all, values, distance, and related tables. So that's 7 functions with about 7 major functions, 7 broad headings for the functions with about 5 per functions. So roughly about 35 different functions we touched on. So is there anybody with any questions relating to those five? Oh, sorry, those 35 or those 7? Okay. Um, in the absence of all questions, tech for all. Is tech for all still with us? Yes. We are through with the installation and the downloading and installation, and I think we've answered most questions that were passed to us. You have the floor. All right. Thank you, Tech for all. In the absence of any other questions, I think we can call it a wrap for tonight. So, like he said, let's try and get the software